Hi my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to episode 18 of Apothecary Diaries, and if I am a little bit quieter this react, more so than usual, it is because I have a really bad headache, which is a result of two very fresh healing tattoos. So I have my little mudkip and my Toto dial, and they were done yesterday, so I am recovering from the trauma of that. So my head is a little sore today, so I do apologize if perhaps I'm not as talkative as normal, but we're going to power through because I really want to see what happens next, because we kind of left with MAOMAO revealing to Jinchi how you can devalue a courtesan and he's still in disguise. So it's kind of like, where are they going? What is the point of all of this? I believe it was the previous episode where I mentioned about the annex and how that had been brought up to MAOMAO about visiting. So I feel like the annex is going to have to come back into play at some point because it obviously has a connection to MAOMAO. So then I wondered if it could be relevant to MAOMAO's mum, because I was actually editing episode 9 for YouTube, and it was during the flashbacks where you have the flowers and then all the symbolism of the women that are flashing by. There's one woman that we don't see her face, but she crops up a few times in that flashback, and I believe I have mentioned it before that we kept seeing the back of this woman and we didn't know who she was. We haven't come across her yet. So then I kind of was like, could it be MAOMAO's mom? Could it be related to MAOMAO? We're not entirely sure. But when I was editing, you can see that she's got game pieces like scattered around her as if she's like thrown or discarded the board. And we know that that's how Lakin and this courtesan bonded, was through playing this game, because she was an exceptional player. So I'm wondering then if this imageless woman that we keep seeing from MAOMAO's perspective, and it's like the back of her and she's like reclined on the bed but looking out the window, if that is then MAOMAO's mum. That MAOMAO's mum is alive, but she's in the annex because maybe she's not all there, or maybe something happened that's impacted her to the point that she is not the same woman that she was. But the impact is so severe that it's changed who she is or how she functions. So she's sort of isolated to the annex because she kind of can't be trusted to be on her own, because maybe she doesn't have the right cognitive function anymore. Maybe something else has happened in relation to giving birth to MAOMAO that caused a trauma. It could be postpartum depression that she never recovered from. We don't know, but it does seem like MAOMAO's mom is potentially alive if she's in the annex, because again, this annex keeps coming into conversation. And also the fact that editing back on episode 9, you can see this image of a woman and then the game pieces, and I think that is connected to this courtesan that is MAOMAO's mum. It's not confirmed that it's MAOMAO's mum, but it's pretty evident from what we've been given so far that it's MAOMAO's mum. I just feel like Lakin's words are so coded that I think Lakin truly does care for the courtesan and cares for MAOMAO. So I don't necessarily think it's something that he would have done intentionally or forcibly. I could be completely wrong, but the impression that I got is that Lakin really loved the courtesan, but is making himself appear to be a creep in order to protect the courtesan and her identity, as well as MAOMAO and his connection to them both, because again, MAOMAO would be thrown under further scrutiny. But not just that, they could also become targets from perhaps people that don't like Lakin or blackmail Lakin by using MAOMAO and the courtesan as a way to get to him. So it seems like he does care and want to protect them, but I'm not entirely sure. It's honestly kind of hard to know what could have happened without watching. So I guess without further ado, we're going to jump into episode 18 and hopefully we get a little bit more insight. But it has been incredibly fascinating trying to piece together this mystery, because not only is Jinshi's lineage a mystery, so is MAOMAO's. We know Jinshi's lineage now. It's never been like outright confirmed, but it's pretty obvious that Jinshi is the Emperor's son with Aldua. Whereas MAOMAO, we know that that's not her biological dad, but we don't actually know who her parents are, but it's been heavily hinted at that it's Laken and the courtesan. Let's get into episode 18, and hopefully some more of these mysteries will be unraveled for us. Is Jinshi putting the dots together in his head? Sir? He's like, you're gonna let me go in there on my own? He's a nervous boy. I pulled it off with no emotion, as in she feels a sense of bitterness that Jinshi is going into the brothel, or maybe disgust. MAOMAO's mom tried to kill her. So again, in episode 9, when you see that flashback, you also see that woman with the knife, like standing over something, but you don't see what's on the bed, which we now know is MAOMAO. So that's why MAOMAO was removed from her mom, is because it would have been dangerous for her to stay with her mom. No wonder she doesn't feel like she's wanted or of value when her own mom didn't want her. Oh god! She's about to be smothered by boobs. Sneak, 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 sneak. Are we gonna know what's in the annex? Gonna be her mom. I wonder what's wrong with her. And perhaps it could have been the illness then that forced her to try and kill MAOMAO. Maybe she wasn't in her right mind. Oh no. It can make someone insane. You can lose your mind. Question. This doesn't line up with what Laken was saying. So who's actually telling the truth? Because Laken said that she never had to serve anyone sexually. What if it's not syphilis? Maybe it is something that they haven't discovered yet. Maybe it's something that would be treatable and can bring back some of her cognitive function, but I don't feel like it's syphilis. I think maybe they don't know what it is, but they've just put it down to being syphilis because the symptoms are maybe so similar to syphilis that that's what they think it is. I think it could be something else that is similar to the symptoms of syphilis, and because she works in a brothel, they think it's syphilis, but it's not syphilis. It's just another illness that is very close, that they've made a presumption that it's syphilis. She does look ill and she does hatefully react to MAOMAO, and she did try to stab baby MAOMAO. And I think trying to stab baby MAOMAO is because of a decline mentally, but it could also have been a symptom of postpartum depression. You can have postpartum psychosis, which can lead to women believing that the only way to protect their baby is to kill their baby because they believe that someone is going to harm their child and they think that their child would be safe if they no longer existed in this world. That's part of the psychosis. So postpartum psychosis is really real and it's very intense. So it could be postpartum psychosis, but that wouldn't explain the rashes. I don't know.
どうした？
姉さんに言われて、あの変なメガネの人がいるからこっちには戻らない方がいいって。
They're hiding MAOMAO from Laken. Because why wouldn't MAOMAO be allowed to go out? Because they're hiding his daughter from him, essentially. She's playing the game. Arranging the pieces. Because that's what she played with Laken. That's what he admired because he could never beat her. I don't think MAOMAO knows that that's her mum. Or maybe she does, but...
お疲れ。あのお客さん、もう帰ったよ。
めいめい姉ちゃんが相手してたの。
So does Laken know that MAOMAO's his?
よかった。
But they're not allowing him to see her for her own protection? I don't know.
私もそろそろいい年だし、ちゃんと考えないとね。
まだみそじ前だけど、妓女としては引退の年齢だもんな。
I wonder how old she was when she started.
もう少しだけ。もう少しだけこの仕事続けるわ。
もしそれが恋というものだとしたら、そんな感情はきっと私を産んだ女の体内に。
Oh, MAOMAO. We know that's not true because she does love those around her. She's such an unreliable narrator.
明日からまたしばらく帰ってこれないだろ。
サービスするんだから乗客の件も忘れないでよ。
I'm not charging you for this, but I would charge others. I love her relationship dynamic with the three older sisters. It's very sweet.
幸せの店が花町のような接待をしていたとは。そんなものを買いに行ったわけじゃないのに。
Junshi's had the shock of his life.
睡蓮と飲んでくれ。変人からのお土産だ。
変人からですか？ありがとうございます。
ああ。
それでは仕事に
Is the
戻りま
widow
したので。
Laken? Probably.
変な草を物置に隠すのもダメよ。
Aww.
気が抜けない。
置き場所がないなら、神師様にお願いして余ってる
Oh,
部屋を
okay.
使わせて
She's
もらっ
not
た
being
の。
like,
いえ、
you can't have them. She's basically saying, like, find a proper way to
シャオ
store
マンは
them.
気にしてないように見えて、結構区切りをつけているわよね。
私は卑しい生まれの娘ですから、ここにいるのも本当に不思議な縁です。
でも、尊い生まれだからといって、最初から別のものだと思わないで。何がどう転がって人生どうなるかなんてわからないもの。身分だけで何でも分けるのはもったいないわ。
I think that's a hint to Junshi because Junshi's childhood wasn't exactly an idealistic one because he had to learn how to sacrifice and let go of things that he had affection for. But also the pressure and expectations and the way in which people try to latch onto him because of his appearance rather than who he is as a person. It must be incredibly exhausting and scary at the same time.
この苦味が口の中に広がる匂い。薬棚には何が入ってるんだろう。
Oh, look at her little face. She's so happy.
いや、ダメだ。こらえろ。
The restraint.
ただ薬を待っていただけですが。詰所の常備薬をいただきに。
ああ。
薬草の匂いがしたのは軍部に勤めているからか。
Oh, yes.
何の薬だろう。ピロリ。芋の粉か？神師様の薬だよな。考えてみたら、神師様は不可解な点が多い。半月に一度ほど定期的に回ってくる仕事もそうだけど、 前日からゆっくり湯あみをして香を焚いて出かけて、まるでみそぎだ。宦官も妻子をやれるのだろうか。
Well, he's not a
高貴な人
eunuch.
物であればおかしくない
I
けど、
love that she
それ
just
ほどの
talks
男が
herself
なぜ
out of
宦
it
官に？
time and
人種
time
様
again
の先の皇
when
太
she
が
is so
絶
close
対
to
な
the
一存で宦
truth.
官にされてしまったのだろうか。
あの娘の養父は元宦官で医官だそうだ。
元宦官ですか？
そうだ。
そんな優秀な医官が宦官の中にいたでしょうか？
Yes. Yes, you did.
失礼するよ。
Oh, for fuck's sake. Hi, Lakin.
先日の話の続きをしましょうか。
Look at Jinshi's face. He's so pissed.
本当に随分悪どいことをされたようですね。
失礼な。トンビには言われたくないですな。10年以上かけてようやくやり手ババアを説得したのに、横からかっさらわれた身にもなるといい。
嫌だと言ったら。
そう言われると何も言えませんな。あなた様に逆らえるものなど片手の指ほども存在しない。
やはり俺の正体に気づいている。
Of course he does.
ただ
He'd alluded to it.
娘がどう思うかなのですけど。
認めたくないが。ラカンはマオマオの実の
Yep.
父親だ。
Yep. I knew it. Oh, so he does know that Mao Mao's his
その
though.
うち会いに行くと伝えていただけますか？
But the brothel seems to hide her from Laken when he comes to visit, which I find particularly interesting. Why are they ensuring that they don't run into each other? Because Mao Mao doesn't know who her
今
dad
度お前に会いたい
is.
という官がいるのだが、
どんな方ですか？
前から話している変人だ。名はラカンという。どうにか断っておく。
ありがとうございます。
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm sorry. It was a very, very quick look to this very like cold look on her face that is very reminiscent of what Lakin said about the courtesan and how she would send a shiver down his spine with such a look as Mao Mao is giving Jinshi. Hence why Jinshi is like, I will turn him down. I will find a reason to turn him down. Like, we knew that Laken knew that Mao Mao was his daughter, but whether like he'd actually ever met Mao Mao was another question that we'd had. They were saying, oh, the weird man with the monocles at the brothel, and she was like hiding away in the annex until he'd gone. So it's like they're trying to keep Mao Mao away from him. She just thinks he's some weirdo from the brothel that keeps asking to see her, and it makes her really uncomfortable. And she doesn't quite realize that the reason he wants to see her is not for nefarious means, but because she's actually his child and he wants to get to know her. But she's not happy at the suggestion. Because there is the mention of like somebody constantly offering a price for Mao Mao, and I think it's alluding to it being Laken that offers the money.
な顔は初めて見た。もう二度と見たくない。
はあ、やっぱり気づかれてたか。
So he found out that Laken is your dad. So you know that Laken's your dad? Come on, give us a little bit more context. Maybe she does know that it's her real dad.
この匂い。薬草畑だ。そこにも、そこにも、あそこにも。
またあなたなの？
安心してください。まだ何も取ってません。
Yet.
今から取ろうとしてたと認識していいかしら。
Oh. She wouldn't.
ここは非公式な畑だし、
Has she been growing
理
them?
科も知っている場所だからあまり出入りしない方がいいわ。
人のことは言えないが、あまり活力のあふれる性格ではなさそうだ。何を植えているのですか？
よみがえりの薬。
それは死者が蘇ることのできる薬。そんなものが実在するなら、喉から手が出る
No,
ほど欲
such
し
a
い。
thing wouldn't exist,
そうだ
but
よ。
oh,
あなた、クスシって聞いたけど、
どれほどの腕前なのかしら。
What does she want from her?
そうもう少し先の話だけど、ここに朝顔を植えるわ。
Oh, okay. This is eerie. She's a very mysterious woman, isn't she? I feel like that was code to MAOMAO to come back in a couple of days so they can speak more. And her question as to how good of an apothecary is she is because she clearly wants something. She's hinting at something. I wonder what the meaning is behind morning glories. It's like every country has different symbolism, so it's trying to have a look and see what the symbolism would be in Japanese. So it symbolizes fleeting summer beauty, transient life and love. It represents the transient nature of life and the ephemeral, can't say that word, beauty of the summer season. As a symbol of innocent love and affection, it is a traditional gift between lovers. The flower is also associated with good luck, gratitude, and hope for the new day. The flower is also seen as a symbol of hope and new beginnings and spiritual awareness and enlightenment. So potentially it could be linked to this idea of resilience and new beginnings. So new beginnings could essentially mean someone you know or love coming into better health. It could be hope for a better life for yourself, for curing something that you are suffering from. I wonder if the new hope and beginnings is in reference to her asking MAOMAO about her skills in apothecary, and then also that kind of like coded language of like, I'll be planting morning glories in a couple of days, because it's like, that's kind of like coded language, but okay, whatever floats your boat. And then MAOMAO smelt the herbs on her, but some of the herbs she mentioned were used for like depression. So it could be maybe her mental health is suffering, or maybe someone she knows and cares about is declining from mental health and is hoping to find a way to ease their pain and help them find a new lease of life. Or maybe it could be in relation to MAOMAO, this new hope and beginnings in finding and establishing a path forward with her mother and her father in finding a way to know who her real family is and to have what she never really had before. I think that might be too idealistic. Again, we don't know if MAOMAO knows if the woman in the annex is her mom and if Laken is her dad. We know that MAOMAO must have been removed because she was attempting to stab MAOMAO. Whether she actually stopped herself or was stopped by someone else, we're not sure, because we only see her like go to do it, but we don't actually see the ramifications. It could be that she stops herself and realizes what she's doing, and she gives MAOMAO away for MAOMAO's own protection because it was an act of love, because she isn't in her right mind and she knows she's not in her right mind, and she doesn't want to harm her daughter because she loves her daughter. And I think we're being led to believe that she's unwanted, but I think she very much could have been wanted. But because of the decline in her mental state, it could have driven her into seeing MAOMAO as something that needs to be eradicated. It could lead to psychosis. It could lead to hallucinations. It could be that she's not even going to stab MAOMAO. Maybe she's having hallucinations of something harming MAOMAO. So it looks like she's going to stab MAOMAO, but she's actually not going to stab MAOMAO. But it looks potentially as if, you know, maybe she gives MAOMAO away voluntarily to protect her daughter out of love rather than because she wasn't wanted. But obviously, you know, if you grow up feeling as if you weren't wanted by your own mother, you're going to have like a sense of, you know, frustration. And that obviously really deeply impacts MAOMAO's relationship with herself, in that she doesn't feel that she's good enough. She speaks down to herself constantly, but that is a trauma from not really having a family. Yes, she had her dad, but it's not quite the same as knowing your mother and your real dad. It's not quite the same as having their love and support growing up. You would feel that you weren't wanted. You would feel that you weren't good enough, that you did something to be discarded so easily. You would wonder why they couldn't love you unconditionally in the way that other parents can love their children. Because obviously she didn't stab MAOMAO, and there's no one else in the room because MAOMAO wouldn't be here. So she must have stabbed to the side of MAOMAO and stopped herself and was able to prevent herself from doing it. I'm not sure, but it's very interesting to see this little interaction and how it connects so far back to episode 9. That's like nearly 10 episodes ago. It's crazy. But MAOMAO's story and Laken's story are two different stories. So now you have to go, well, what's the truth? Because Laken said that she didn't actually sleep with anyone because she was so high valued. And MAOMAO saying, well, no, she did because she caught syphilis as a result. And her dad showed up out of nowhere. I think this just further connects that Laken and MAOMAO's dad are connected somehow because he conveniently shows up out of nowhere. Yes, I know that he was obviously exiled and came here, but he shows up at the brothel and he's trying to treat, coincidentally, the very courtesan that Laken was seeing. Because it said when her dad showed up, the illness was in incubation. She must have been connected to the woman that runs the brothel, because why would you keep her in such good care and luxury if she wasn't of some connection to you, or if you didn't have some affection for her? Because as MAOMAO was saying, you know, courtesans who can't work are usually thrown out. So the fact that she's been kept in comfort and being well taken care of means that she has to have some worth and value. But it's very strange that as soon as they say the weird guy with the monocle has arrived, when MAOMAO turns around, the courtesan's laying out the pieces as if she's preparing for Laken to come so that they can play the game together. She very clearly still has some of her mental faculties. She hasn't completely lost her mind because she recognizes the description of Laken enough to start preparing the pieces, almost as if she's excited to see Laken. So I don't think it's that Laken did anything to her to harm her, and that's why she didn't want MAOMAO. But if she didn't like Laken or was scared of Laken or traumatized by Laken, she wouldn't be getting the pieces together as if she's excited at the idea of being able to play with him again, because she recognizes the description of him and she starts preparing. So I do think there was genuine love and connection between the two of them. I do think MAOMAO was very much wanted by her mom, but this mental decline has led to her giving MAOMAO away for MAOMAO's safety because she's scared that she would harm MAOMAO unintentionally. You're getting that offer again, which means Laken is offering to pay to see MAOMAO, to have tea with her. And that's why she was angry at the idea of Jinshi setting her up to see him. And then obviously MAOMAO saying, so he found out, which could mean two different things. I guess he knows could be, I guess he knows that this guy's been trying to pursue me at the brothel and is now trying to get Jinshi and his influence to set up this arrangement, but I don't want that. Or I guess he knows because she actually knows that that's her dad. But I think so he found out is more so to do with Laken offering to pay money for MAOMAO at the brothel. She just sees him as the creep that's trying to spend money to spend time with her, even though she's not a courtesan. And she just sees him as this weirdo, whereas actually it's her dad and he's offering to spend money because it's the only way that he can see her, without it looking suspicious that he wants to spend time with her, because they're not publicly seen as being father and daughter, so he has to find a way to spend time with her that wouldn't discredit MAOMAO, but also himself and make it look weird and suspicious. But then again, it's still weird that he's paying to see her in the brothel, but there's also like anonymity and privacy in a brothel. So maybe that's where it comes into that, like, if I pay money to see her in the brothel, no one's going to see us together. I can get to spend time with my daughter and she can get to know me and I can have a relationship with her in a way that I wasn't able to. But how long has this been going on for? It seems to have been going on for like a while that he's been trying to pay money. Yeah, I'm really, really fascinated. I think it is that MAOMAO doesn't know that Laken's her dad. And Laken is actually trying to spend the money to see MAOMAO and get to know her in a way that's not going to compromise MAOMAO in the eyes of the public, but also in the eyes of the court, because there is privacy in the brothel. And I think if he was to be seen out and about with a young woman that nobody really knows, it would be seen as him having interest in her rather than it actually being his daughter. But he also can't publicly claim her because then she's just outright considered a bastard, and that completely undermines her status and ruins her reputation. So she doesn't have much status, but what she has claimed is worthy of respect, especially in serving Jinshi. It could be ruined if people believed her to be illegitimate and not worthy of the position that she's in. So it could be also for her protection. I think both Laken and her mother, the courtesan, because that has to be her mother, are trying to protect MAOMAO in their own ways from harsh society, from the realities of what this world can be and the dangers within it. But either way, phenomenal episode. Again, I love this show. This show's amazing. I need to start buying the light novels so I can actually read them, but I think I'm scared to read the light novels in case it ruins like future series for me, because I know there's two and then there's a third series coming out, and a lot of people have said there's a lot of content in the light novels, that there could be quite a few series in the future. So I don't particularly want to read too far and then like ruin future plot points for myself, but I love this show so, so much. But I think that's all I have to say for now. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!